Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Well, I like this intro now. Welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. We're here today. It is Saturday, September 30th. Beautiful day here in Denver, Colorado. Breathing it in as you know you have to do here. But we are here to talk about Goose at the Santa Barbara Bowl last night in Santa Barbara, California. The last headlining show of this little California run that they've been on this week. We got a little festival gig in just a few hours here. But how are you doing today, Neil?
I'm doing all right. I stayed up for like the first time for a West Coast show last night, so I just woke up from a nap. I'm not gonna lie. I got up early this morning on like just a few hours of sleep, so I'm doing okay. I'm excited for. I don't know. I guess we're not gonna have any stream to watch today. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we got really lucky last night, so I don't know.
Yeah, somebody on Instagram said they were gonna try to run a Mixler from Ohana today, but it's a 50-minute set, so I'm not really sweating it if we don't hear much. But we've got two guests on today. People we've been looking forward to having on the pod here for a little while now. We've got Kevin and we've got Butter. How are you guys doing? Welcome to the pod. Hello.
Hi guys. Hi Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Hey, doing well.
And
yeah,
just for clarification,
doing great after that show.
Yeah. In case people are wondering, this is the Butter of the infamous Butter's wife banter from the Warfield back in April. So we're excited to have you on today. Do you have any natural light on you?
A whole case in my daughter's fridge for sure.
Oh, perfect. Good to hear. Yeah. Let's start with you, Butter. Tell me about your pre-show yesterday, getting to the show. Where were your seats? What was your vibe like before they went on?
Well, the Santa Barbara Bowl, it's located right downtown. Me and my daughter and her girlfriend, I brought them to their first show. We got there nice and early. We got there, 5:30 and went down to the pit about fifth row, procured some amazing space. And it was just the start of it was a great mellow release from the confines of the Wiltern of that boomy theater in LA. So to be outside in Santa Barbara and just have an awesome spot in the bougie small, like shrinky dink amphitheater. It was awesome. It was super mellow and, it's light outside still with the early start. And great vibes to start the pre-show.
Amazing. Good to hear. What about you, Kevin? What was your pre-show vibe like? Where were your seats?
Yeah, got there about 5:15 or so. Got a spot over on Trevor's side down in the pit. But went up. I mean, there's a gorgeous bar up at the top of the Santa Barbara Bowl. It's a place to get a drink. You can look out onto the water, watch the sunset out there. It's it's a gorgeous spot. So had my wife with me for her first show, and met some folks around us who were at their first show. So it's a great time, and yeah, gorgeous spot. I mean, I highly recommend. Lack of a stream and all that, but I highly recommend going there for a show if anybody gets the chance.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful venue, and I'm jealous of everyone who got to be there last night. I wasn't watching the stream because I was at Snarky Puppy last night. But Neil, we had a very special or an exciting stream last night in absence of an official webcast. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that went?
Yeah, I mean this was the most most serendipitous thing ever. Like I think we were all just kind of sitting around like there's nothing we can do, and we're not going to watch the show. Hundreds of people last night. And then Kevin Johnson, not our Kevin Johnson, which is important to point out, not our Kev, but another Kevin Johnson decided to run a Mixler. And not only did he run a Mixler, but it was the best quality Mixler I have ever heard, which is amazing. I don't know how he did it, but he did. And it was wonderful. So we got almost soundboard quality for the whole entire show. So it was fantastic, man.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much to Kevin for doing that for the whole community. Stream of the year from Ryan Molnar. Thank you very much. We do very much appreciate you doing that for everyone else. And yeah, it was very nice, getting the Borfs up pretty quick, gave the show a nice little listen this morning. Really, really solid one for sure. I think Kevin is a little bit frozen, so we will return to him when he gets back. But let's start with you here, Butter, on the first few songs of the show: Earthling or Alien, Mr. Action, and Time to Flee.
Yeah, so at Earthling and Alien, well, first of all, these early start times, it's not necessarily easy for a band to pull this off, but they crushed it with coming on at about 6:52 or so. The sun was starting to set, and Earthling and Alien got just a slow, funky build dance party going, and I mean, it went on and on until it was basically dark out. So that was kind of the transition to getting it dark at an early show, but the dance grooves were flowing. Peter got on his synth and just got that Earthling flowing. So that was a really sweet start. Mr. Action, like that bluesy rock sound, I think it kind of exemplifies Goose's sound. If you were trying to say, like, what do they do that's different? What's like their core sound? So that's kind of what I took from Mr. Action. A lot of people's first show, so that was cool. But then shit got pretty serious with Time to Flee. I mean, it was our first deep jam. It was ethereal. It was uplifting. We took the elevator up. There was like a movement to Mutron there for Rick, and it had a climatic peak. Then it kept going and going. I didn't catch it in real time, but I read on lgoose.net about the honeybee teas, and I'm going to listen for that because my daughter actually has a African fat-tailed gecko named Honeybee. Nothing to do with Goose. She named it that on her own. So we were kind of secretly, rooting for a honeybee. So that we actually got some teases of honeybee, and there's pretty cool. We're all going to listen for that a little later. So yeah, that's my breakdown on the first three.
Awesome. Neil, what are your thoughts on these first three songs of last night?
I heard about those honeybee teases, but I didn't hear them in the moment either.
For the record, my first listen this morning, they were incredibly obvious. So I'm not sure how you missed them last night.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, last night my hands were busy. I was doing
carrying the community,
and Twitter and Fantasy Goose last night. It all somehow got done. I only screwed up Fantasy Goose once. It was great. So yeah, first three songs. Earthling or Alien as an opener. Wow. That's only been done, let's see here, 5 times before. And it's like a crazy grouping of shows. Have you seen this data at all?
I have not. I think I can remember a couple of them off the top of my head, but what are they?
So like Mission Ballroom, night 1 is one of them, which is crazy. The Riviera, night 1 on the New Year's run in 21 rather. The Sylvie in 2022. And then Chrysalis, open set 2. So as a set opener. Same thing with the Riviera. And then Kansas City 2021. So this is like a pretty like interesting grouping of shows because they're all really, really, really good shows. So I thought that was interesting. So it's something that they take out here and there. I think when it's maybe something special for them. I don't know. Not that this show kind of like took off like some of the others, like Chrysalis or anything like that. But so that was an interesting thing. You don't get an Earthling opener to a set all too often, and really only opened a first set, I think, 3 times before this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the expected Mr. Action. And then, this Time to Flee is really, really, really good. This is one of those, where in the moment it's fun watching like Twitter, when you're kind of streaming at home as people start to realize that this is a special jam. So you get like the holy shits, like the guys, ... like this kind of thing, like coming in. So yeah, I mean, this thing goes all kinds of places. It has like a really awesome blissy segment, and then just builds to like a couple giant peaks that are fantastic, man. Such a cool jam. So definitely going back to this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, really great jam out of this flea. I totally agree. The Earthling or Alien jam had some interesting moments in it as well. And Kevin's back. And so we're going to hear from him now, which is very exciting. Kevin, your thoughts on Earthling or Alien, Mr. Action, and Time to Flee to start off the first set here.
Yeah. Earthling or Alien, was a lot of fun, and I thought it was a great, was not expecting that as an opener. Was thinking maybe we would get the Mr. Action opener, and then was a fun opener. Didn't, we didn't go for 25 minutes, but it was a, great warm up, and, nothing to sneeze at. A lot of fun, definitely got everybody going. And it was good because I, played that for my wife in the car on the way in. So, felt good that I'd called that one. And then, yeah, definitely the flea just really, that was like, all right, the boys are, they're warmed up, they're fired up, they're ready to go. That was like, all right, we're in for it now, because that just went some really fun places.
Yeah, that's my jam of the night, personally. After listening to the whole show, I think Flea's really, really excellent example of improv, and I hope we see more jams like this. 19 minutes, which is relatively short for a Goose jam if you think about it. We're routinely seeing a lot of 25-minute or so jams. And so this one covered a lot of territory in sub 20. Let's continue on this first set here. We've got the first jammed Way It Is in a very, very long time, which was exciting. Seekers and So Ready to close off the first set. Let's throw it right back to you, Kevin. How did you feel on the second half of the first set here?
Yeah, the Way It Is, getting to see that jammed out was incredible. That's what it was like. And then I, like I said, was talking to some other newbies around me, and there was a guy who was big Fish fan who said he was at the show because his favorite comedian, Bert Kreischer, had told him to go, and he really wanted to see a lot of keyboard work, and that was a great one. Peter did some great work on the Way It Is, and the fact that they jammed it was really nice. Seekers, not much to say about Seekers, because it just, it always delivers, and what else are you going to say? It's a beautiful couple songs there. And then So Ready was really nice Peter reverb solo, I thought. And although some may think that Ryan is not a fan of two guitar Goose, I think those who pay attention know that he's actually he thinks two guitar Goose is a good thing. So I think I'm sure Ryan appreciated that, because that was a nice solo for Peter, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's So Ready. It's always going to be a lot of fun and a great set closer. Seekers here, exactly where we want it. That sweet spot, the late first set Seekers. That's where it belongs. And the Way It Is, I kind of went in reverse order here, but the Way It Is, amazing to see it kind of stretch out and jam again. Didn't go anywhere too crazy, nothing too long, but it's jamming again. And that is a big, big deal. There are some incredible versions, 7/3/21, that, we know that they can do amazing things with this song. And so it sucks when they don't. And so hopefully this means that Way It Is going forward is going to return to jam vehicle status, which would be amazing. Butter, what are your thoughts on the second half of the first set here?
Yeah, so when the Way It Is started, first of all, I love Bruce Hornsby, but my first thoughts were, it's kind of it's a little bit lighter of a song, and I was like, okay, Santa Barbara, daytime, we're going to get kind of more of a lighter pedestrian cover here of Bruce Hornsby. It was pretty, it was perfectly placed, but then when they went for the jugular and jammed it, I'm like, all right, this is why I love this band. Like, this is they're taking it deep, they're making it a little dirty. And so I was elated that they jammed it. And then by the time they got to Seekers, it was like so much had happened in that set. It was just a perfect release at that point. Perfectly, like, kind of a celebration of a perfectly executed set. And Rick got into some theatrics, and Seekers was excellent. And then So Ready, my first So Ready. I've seen Slow Ready, and I've seen, the debate of the teams, the different teams. And I got to say, I think I'm So Ready. I think I'm team So Ready. I came over to the young kids for like beats per minute and faster dancing, because I have a history with the Grateful Dead. I saw Jerry 25 times with the Grateful Dead. I then switched to Fish. Like in '94, I got on Fish, and I've seen a stupid number of Fish shows. And
no such thing.
Yeah, it's an amazing body of work. I'm really proud of it, actually. And I love Fish. I love the Dead. But anyway, I came over to the young kids for, faster dancing and more beats per minute and stuff. So I loved So Ready. It was great. Loved it. I might be team So Ready.
Well, some people are allowed to be wrong. Neil, what's your thought on the second half of the first set here?
Yeah, I just want to talk about this the way it is, which was interesting in the moment, because there's a very obvious commitment to a jam in this, like right when the jam begins, obviously. And I got really excited. I thought, like, this is it, So I'm posting from like the pod account. I'm posting from my own account, like, oh my God, like here it is. And then by the time my excitement like kind of settled down and I was just kind of listening to the show, the jam ended, which was disappointing. But
yeah,
there was
but it's there.
an
It's coming back.
a jam, so that's exciting stuff. So yeah, and then you get a couple Seekers as a cool down, and then you get So Ready to close a set that feels all pretty normal for Goose. You know what I mean? That's So Ready I called like when Seekers 1 started. I was like, So Ready is
almost like
right.
It's almost like somebody had all 3 of those songs on his picks and he was laughed at.
I couldn't imagine picking all those for Fantasy Goose and getting lucky and getting them. But yeah.
Is it luck though?
Should we talk about
how did you do last night, Neil?
All
right. Let's dive into set break here. Butter, why don't you start us off? What was the vibe like at set break? People you were talking to, thoughts on the first set, ready for the second set. What was going on?
Yeah, so it was my daughter's first show and her girlfriend's first show. So we made a beeline for water refill in bathrooms. So we were aggressive but polite, weaving out of there. And it was a dangerous move. We all 3 left our prime real estate there, but we had a plan and we executed it. So we went and hit the water bottle. We hit the bathrooms, hit the water bottle refill. Santa Rosa Bowl. It's my favorite venue. I'm going to go ahead and say Santa Barbara Bowl. It's my 3rd show here. It's my favorite venue on the planet. And so the water bottle refill station and just the chill vibes and super nice bathrooms, we took advantage of all that. And then we were so efficient and fast at that the lines, we were done with that. The lines for bathrooms were filling up and we circled back and went right back up to our prime spot and secured it again. So
Excellent.
we had made a couple. Yeah, we'd made a couple friends with some folks from Colorado at LA. And so we kind of had a posse with them. And we just made it back and, we're pretty early and hunkered down again. And we're rooting in for set 2 and preparing.
Amazing. Kevin, what about you? What was going on at set break? I know you're wearing the shirt right now, but it's a very special shirt.
Yeah, got some good comments on my Bison Mars Tour shirt here. Gave away a lot of stickers. Anybody wants a Bison Malachite sticker, hit me up on Twitter. Happy to send them out, and I'm giving a donation to Western Sun Foundation for every sticker I give out. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I realize it's a joke, you kind of have to explain, but a lot of people were really into the fact that in 20 years, Bison's going to be the derivative band that everybody's talking about being totally derivative of Goose, just like Goose is so derivative of Fish, and everybody that I explained to that to would say would be indignant. You're like, no, they're much better than Fish. No, I don't go to Fish shows and I go to Goose shows. Oh, that's or no, I go to Fish shows, but Goose is totally different, man. And and for me, it's like, hey, anybody trying to do anything in rock and roll after 75 years, God bless them, whether it's new or not. But yeah, set break was great. It was a lot of fun. Handing out stickers, and for the bathroom report, my wife said that women's,
we don't do that
there was
here
no
anymore.
line. There was no line
Neil
for
has to give
for the ladies' room, and I found the bathroom, the men's room, pretty good. Good water stations in a lot of different areas, and very short food lines. So the merch was a little weird because they did not, from what I hear, they did not let the band have their own merch people selling. So they had, and then they did not, let the. It was clear from Teardown at the end of the show, they did not let the normal Goose folks, I think, do the Teardown. There were a lot of other people on stage. So was kind of an interesting. I think maybe there's a union thing. I don't know.
There are a lot of rules at the Santa Barbara Bowl. I know that's like part of the reason why we didn't get a webcast last night.
Right.
So they're very specific about how they do things. But all right, let's dive into this set 2 here. I feel like we can just kind of.
Can I do just like a
separate
report of my own?
Yes, of
Please,
course.
Like, I mean, it has to be done.
Report.
So Butter and Kevin, did either of you run into Kevin Johnson last night as he milled about the crowd interviewing people? All right, so I'll fill you in. This is what happens. So
I did hear Cam was doing improv on the Mixler.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, this is something. So set 1 ends, and as normally happens when somebody's doing a fan stream on a Mixler, they just kind of, turn off the stream. No, Kevin Johnson picks up his phone and just goes into sideline reporter mode and just starts walking through the crowd and has the most wonderful conversation. Like, I don't know, at least like a dozen people, like Cam's there. It was the most surreal thing I have ever heard in my life, because it was like somebody took Twitter and just threw it into 1,000 conversations, like in a set break. And I don't know. We got to get Kevin on the show at some point.
Yeah,
because I didn't see that. I missed all that. I would have loved that.
Oh man.
Yeah. On Jam Cruise, we had an inflatable microphone one year, and we were going around, and people were videoing it, and we were putting it on YouTube of, what do you think with an inflatable microphone? Is kind of like that. It's pretty awesome. It adds some color and kind of pulls people into the mix.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. So that's what I did with my set break. I was gonna go do things. I had some dishes I had to do at the house. And
listen, some things are a priority.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do anything. I was locked in. I listened to every minute of it with laser focus because I didn't want to miss anything. It was that good. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, let's dive into set 2 here. I feel like we can kind of take this all as one big group for the rest
Very
of the
short
show.
set.
With you, Kevin. Killing Moon popping up again. Arrow, same old shenanigans, SOS, of course, and Everything Must Go with a hot tea encore. Kevin, what were your thoughts on set 2 here?
Yeah, I mean, fun to see him open with the Killing Moon. I was stumped for the first couple of chords. I initially thought maybe they were going into Sleepwalk, which I thought would be a strange opener for set 2. When I heard the sort of reverb chords, and then got the Killing Moon, and it was really fun to see. And hopefully, now they've brought it out a couple times. Maybe we'll get a jam out of that at some point, which would be an interesting, because hey, shoegaze. Goose is fun. Goose, and then the rest of set 2 was a lot of fun. I mean, Everything Must Go was for me sort of the highlight song of the night. It was really powerful song, and a lot of fun to hear. Great job. I mean, the Arrow, that was the highlight jam, I think, of set 2. That was a fun jam. Took them a while to get somewhere, and then they got somewhere really, really interesting, and really kind of chuggled along for 5 or 6 minutes on a nice blues riff that was great fun to watch and listen to. And then if you ever want a hot tea encore, just come to a show with me, because I'm 3 for 3 on hot tea encores. So.
Wow, good stat. Encore that shit. As we say on the pod. Butter, what were your thoughts on the second set?
Killing Moon. I was clued into that song. I caught it the other night and was interested in it. And my daughter knew it. She knew it from the Donnie Darko. And so that was pretty cool, having a 21 and 22-year-old right there. That kind of drew them right in for set 2. And it was a different vibe, because it wasn't like super dancey. And it was, just a hip song. So, and really, I mean, the set, so it was a hip song that was cool. Kind of a special treat, it felt like. And really the set, I mean, it's 4 songs counting Killing Moon, and it was a short set, but Killing Moon wasn't very long. So really we're talking about a 3-song set, which moves us over to Arrow. I got Arrow at my first show. My first show was Sacred Rose last summer, and loved that. And anyway, it was Arrow was an exercise in tension release jamming. They broke it down, and it slowed it down. It kind of became a dance party. They touched on some stop start jamming for a bit, and it slowed down, and I was kind of wondering if maybe they were out of gas for the night. It'd been a long week, and things were slowing down. And they found like a turbo boost of creativity, though. I had that thought for about 15 seconds, and then it got a little quieter, and then they started kind of the Grateful Dead jammings, for lack of a more creative description. And they kind of rode that out, some guitar fusion, GD style jamming. It was sweet. Some nice climax there. And then the SOS, Peter on Hammond, that was my favorite part of that. And ended up being a much bigger Peter night than LA. I mean, LA was like Trevor heavy. We barely heard from Peter. He sung Redbird, but then that shifted back over to like spiritual guitar soloing from Rick. And so, LA was the least Petery show I've ever seen. Last night was my 7th show. But anyway, last night was a lot of Peter throughout. And so I really enjoyed his Hammond soloing in SOS. And that was my first version of that song. Amazing. And then Everything Must Go. I liked the song when I spin Goose. I knew I liked it, but holy smokes, I love that song now. Much like Kevin, that was my highlight of the night. Just so beautiful, and I'll use the word spiritual again, and just perfectly executed. It really touched my heart. I feel like they hit a little bit of like a China Cat Rider feel in there somewhere, not like a tease or quote, but it had a little bit of feel.
Contained elements of?
Yeah. Flavor and feel,
Flavor?
Yeah.
Coloration.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I love how we've shifted from motif to contains elements of.
I think it works.
It's a new thing. But yeah, no, I hear those vibes all the time on this tour, especially where it feels like you're in a China Rider transition out of nowhere, which is kind of cool. But yeah, really only a couple things I want to talk about this set. Obviously, Killing Moon, cool that this is now a cover that they're doing all the time. Interesting that, once in 2020, and then now all of a sudden they like it again. Mm-hmm. And then Arrow, jam highlight of the second set, in my opinion, although I could kind of get in a fight with Everything Must Go for like the other jam highlight. So Arrow was really cool. I don't really have any kind of specific parts to point to right now because I didn't get a chance to re-listen to that one today, but that one in the moment, I was like, this is yet another good Arrow. So, just continuing on that trend of Arrow not really being boring, which is a good thing. Yeah. And then, you get an SOS, and then Everything Must Go, another huge Everything Must Go. I don't know where this stands, but at some point I'm going to have to sit down and rank these Everything Must Goes.
They're just all so good. It's such a good song. The groove they get into here is so good. It's like,
and it's like a little something more.
Your hands.
Yeah, it's so we talk about Feel It Now being like an amazing second set song all the time, but it's always somewhat similar. It's not really going anywhere big. I feel like you get more interesting stuff in Everything Must Go. Similar kind of slotting with that song these days, right? Although this one interesting that it closed the set, that's intense. That's a big slot, closing the second set. And, they obviously think that song's strong enough to do that. So that's cool. And then you get your Hot Tea Encore because it's, you're in California. And
it's true.
It has
and
to
I'm
feel
at the
like,
show.
it has to feel like the hits at some point. And there it is. So,
yeah. I love Everything Must Go as a set closer. I think this is a great slot for this song, great explosive, yet has the jam in there. And so I think it worked really, really well in this slot. And then, I'm a little bit surprised that Hot Tea was not saved for the festival today, personally. But, we'll see what they do. Again, 50 minutes, not a lot of time to do very much, for Goose, similar to what they had at Newport, where I think they even had an hour. But, that's brings us to the close of Santa Barbara Bowl. Thank you so much, Butter and Kevin, for joining us on today's episode of Always Almost There. Really appreciate you both. Kevin, thank you for spreading the good word of Bison out there. As a band that I created in a test tube sometime in the future, it's nice to see them getting this kind of love. So hope
the street team is working. So we're going to be ready for this album dropping in just 20 years and a couple months.
Amazing.
I had no idea the merch existed. That's an amazing thing.
It's beautiful. It's frankly.
I mean, I knew the merch was designed. I didn't know it actually became physical merch at some point.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for.
To be clear, I don't run the Bison Jams account. I'm not that guy. So
nobody knows who does.
Nobody knows.
It's just
nobody can figure out real easily.
I can tell you, it's not anyone on the screen right now. Anyway, we'll be back here tomorrow for who knows how long the episode will be to talk about a 50-minute festival set that's happening this afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. There may be a Mixler, so keep an eye out for that. But if there's not, it's a 50-minute festival set. So don't stress about it too much. But we'll be back here tomorrow. You'll get a
California Magic. You'll get a butter rum.
Exactly. The usual.
Yeah, Ryan, thanks for having me, guys. Did you want the Butter's wife story before we cut?
Oh, yes. Okay, before we go. Yes.
Okay.
Give it to us quick.
So it was day 2 of the Warfield. I had seen 2 shows. It was going to be my wife's first show. I was walking around the Tenderloin in San Francisco shopping for post-show drinks. I happened to run into Trevor walking around by himself in the Tenderloin. And I said, "Hey, Trevor." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Dude." I was like, "I just got to tell you, I've seen you twice. You are amazing. And I want to say it's you that's blown my mind seeing the band live, because I loved it listening to it, but I can't get a feel for like the 3-dimensional bass and how thick it is unless I'm live. And you're just amazing. And I got to tell you, my wife is coming tonight to her first show, and she's a little skeptical, and I just want to let you know she's coming." And he's like, we'll get her. Okay. We'll get her. I'm like, all right, cool. And so it's set break and they come back on, and Trevor's talking. I'm just fiddling in my bag, like getting stuff ready for the second set. And my wife hits me. She's like, hey, I think they just said Butter's wife. And I'm like, what? What? And I'm like, let's not make this show all about us, honey. Come on, are you sure? She's like, no, they said it. And then we're listening to him tell the story about Natural Light and stuff. And a few other my friends later on had heard it, and they're like, why is he giving your wife a shout out? And so anyway, and then they proceeded to play just a greasy, funky, deep thatch. So I have to think that was part of me saying how much I loved his bass and how that makes the vibes. And so anyway, so he gave her a shout out and just crushed us with a 20-minute thatch. And so that's the short version of the story.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Butter. We're glad you could come on and tell us about that.
Amazing.
Thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode of Day After Show. Thank you again, Butter and Kevin, for being here. We'll be back here tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about Ohana Festival. So we will see you